Part 7. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 61. Li Jie stopped smiling and said seriously, formal, it must be formal. Irregularity will be harmonized. Harmony? What nonsense are you talking about? Xiao Qiao couldn't understand again. Li Jie looked at Xiao Qiao in his arms. The upper body was in a tight black suit that highlighted her slender waist. The lower body was in a black one-line skirt and black stockings. It was a standard professional women's suit, very tempting. I have to say that the president's waist is really thin, a perfect A4 waist, and can be held by both hands. It is said that legs are worn out for a year, but with this small waist, he feels that 1 year of playing is definitely not enough. Among the girls Li Jie knows, Lu Kai's characteristic is her legs, Xiao Qiao's characteristic is undoubtedly her waist, and Shen Xinyi's characteristic is her good nature. Li Jie grabbed Xiao Qiao's slim waist and hugged her tightly. Hey, what do you want to do again? Isn't it a massage? It's not convenient here, let's go to the bedroom to press. Go to the bedroom? Are you sure your massage is legal? Don't question my character. Li Jie hugged Xiao Qiao, walked up the spiral staircase, walked into the bedroom, and laid her gently on the bed. Isn't it a massage? Why are you so close to me? Seeing Li Jie pressing down and his face getting closer and closer to hers, Xiao Qiao pushed him lightly and protested with a smile. You need to do some warm-up exercises before the massage. Li Jie's eyes were a little strange and he whispered in Xiao Qiao's ear. After saying that, his mouth captured her lips. Xiao Qiao's lips are slightly sweet, with a slight mint smell, which should be the taste of lipstick. The two kissed passionately for a while, and Xiao Qiao's body became a little soft, her face was red, and her eyes were so moist that they seemed to be dripping with water. Why are you taking off my clothes? How can I get a massage with so many clothes on? Li Jie's breathing was rapid and his tone was a little irritable. He pulled off the little black suit with all his strength and kept it aside. Hey, please be gentle, your clothes are torn. They are very expensive. Just take it off, or you'll tear your clothes again. Seeing Li Jie trying to help her take off her shirt again, Xiao Qiao stopped him, unbuttoned one by one, and took the initiative to take off her shirt. Then, Li Jie helped her take off her one-line skirt and black stockings. Many men like black stockings, but Li Jie is not very interested in this stuff. Wouldn't it be nice to get started directly? Why are you taking off your clothes again? I can't move around with my clothes on. After some massage, Xiao Qiao's hair was messed up, her makeup was smudged, and there were a few strawberry-like red spots on her fair neck and collarbone. Well, the red spots on the neck and collarbone are all mosquito bites and have nothing to do with Li Jie. Hey, it's not good in the south. It's already October and there are still mosquitoes. Li Jie said in a tentative tone, Qiao Bao, it might hurt a little next, do you want to try it? Xiao Qiao looked at Li Jie, bit her lip, said and looked away with a shy smile. Li Jie felt happy and suddenly became motivated, but suddenly he stopped again. What's wrong? Seeing that Li Jie stopped pressing, Xiao Qiao looked at him in surprise. I forgot something. Li Jie looked indescribably annoyed. Before coming here, Li Jie had thought about letting Xiao Qiao experience his massage skills, so he also brought special massage gloves, but they seemed to have been left on his bedside table in the hotel and he forgot them when moving things. It's not safe to massage without wearing hands. If I had known earlier, I would have bought a pair of gloves when I came back. Li Jie thought for a while and said, Qiao Bao, when did your relatives come last time? What relative? Xiao Qiao didn't seem to understand. Don't pretend to be stupid. Li Jie didn't believe that she, a curious girl, really couldn't understand. Xiao Qiao smiled and whispered a date. When Li Jie heard this, he felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on him, and he immediately sobered up a lot. If you press it again, Something could easily happen. Li Jie fell aside and lay on the bed. Xiao Jiao bit her lip and said hesitantly, "How about I press it for you?" Li Jie suddenly got up again. It was rare for the president to ask for help, so how could he bear to refuse? Hongchen Normal University. Study on the 4th floor, dormitory 408. Two local girls from South Central Province in the dormitory went home immediately after the break. Chen Wenjing went on a date with her boyfriend. Tan Hui also went out in the afternoon, leaving only Zhou Ziyu and Huo Lily in the room. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 62. Huo Lily was sitting at the desk playing with a computer. It was an Asus laptop. This computer belonged to Zhou Ziyu. Zhou Ziyu, on the other hand, was lying on the upper bunk listening to music. Her personality is quite homebound. She stays in the dormitory most of the time during holidays and rarely goes out for shopping. "Ziyu, come down and take a look." Huo Lily suddenly turned around and greeted Zhou Ziyu. "What's wrong?" Zhou Ziyu took off his headphones, sat up and looked at Huo Lily. She spoke slowly and in a soft tone, so her voice was gentle and pleasant. "You'll know when you come down and take a look." Zhou Ziyu climbed down the ladder and climbed down from the bed. She was dressed coolly, wearing only a white pleated suspender skirt. Looking at Zhou Ziyu's graceful curves, delicate collarbones, and slender legs, Huo Lily's face was full of envy. "Tsuyu has such a good figure, and her skin is so white, so beautiful, let alone a boy. I can't even look at it, I can't help but want to touch too." Huo Lily looked at herself again, her expression a little decadent. "Look at me, I'm as black as a briquette." After saying that, she couldn't help but look at Zhou Ziyu again. Her skin was fair and tender, and seemed to be glowing. If there is really no comparison, there is no harm. Compared with Zhou Ziyu, she looks darker. In fact, Huo Lily is not bad looking. She has a petite figure and is a cute type, but her skin is a bit dark. However, many people like this black rose type and think she is healthy and energetic. Zhou Ziyu came to her side and said with a smile, "My figure is not very good, I also have a little belly." When she smiled, the corners of her mouth were slightly stiff, as if she couldn't let go of her smile, but it was unique. Huo Lily glanced at Zhou Ziyu's fair and flat belly and couldn't help rolling her eyes. "Ziyu, do you know how irritating it is for you to say this?" If she knew about future generations, she would definitely say something about old Versailles. "What are you asking me to look at?" Zhou Ziyu leaned down and looked at the computer. She was a little short-sighted, about 300 degrees. Although it was not as high myopia, a little further away would make people and animals indistinguishable, but without glasses, it was too far. "I really can't see clearly." "Is this Xiao Jiao's QQ space?" she said, looking at the computer screen. QQ space is full of all kinds of photos, including photos of Xiao Jiao taken in the bar, photos taken on the Pearl Tower, photos taken on the Bund, etc. In addition to her solo photos, there are many photos of her and her Li Jie's photos of the two of them, as well as photos of food and beautiful scenery. After looking through the photos, Zhou Ziyu found another video, marked from the perspective of his girlfriend. She gently clicked on the video and saw a hotel room. A handsome boy wearing a white shirt and black trousers, who was very refreshing and tough, was lying lazily on the bed. A girl reached out and grabbed the boy's tie, and suddenly the boy got up from the bed. The girl didn't show her face. Then the scene changed, and it turned into a boy making a strong push against the wall, pressing Xiao Jiao against the wall, while Xiao Jiao bowed her head and smiled shyly. "Isn't he handsome and manly?" Huo Lily asked with a smile. "You mean Li Jie?" "Nonsense. It's really not bad," Zhou Ziyu commented. "But Lily, how do you know Xiao Jiao's QQ number?" Huo Lily smiled proudly and said, "Not only do I know Xiao Jiao's QQ account, I also have Li Jie's QQ account." Where did you get Liject? Zhou asked curiously. Wenjing helped me ask her boyfriend about QQ. Her boyfriend Linjing is not in the same dormitory as Lijet. I added Lijet's QQ and sent a message saying that I was Xiaowai's roommate, and he approved. In fact, Lijet is a person who considers other people's feelings very much. Just like he advanced Zhaojia's salary in advance, winning people's hearts is only a small part. More importantly, he takes into account her difficulties. A girl can't live alone in Shanghai. Easy, not to mention she is still his senior sister. If he has the ability, just take care of him. The same goes for Huo Lily. It was definitely not because of Tan Hui that Li Jie added her as a friend. He just remembered that he had met Huo Lily once and didn't want to hurt the girl's face, so he passed it. Li Jie also knows that being soft-hearted is not an advantage. Those who achieve great things are rarely thin-skinned, let alone soft-hearted. They are more ruthless than anyone else. They are ruthless to themselves and to others. But what to do? It's hard to change one's nature, and he couldn't do it even if Li Jie made money without conscience. So Li Jie knew that he was not someone who would achieve great things without being reminded by others. Perhaps with the advantage of rebirth, he can make a lot of money, but it will never become a capital, because capital has a black heart and wants to eat people. By the way, Ziu, watch this again, Huo Lily said, opening Li Jie's space again and found a video called Boyfriend's Perspective. Li Jie's QQ space is encrypted and only friends can view it. Zhou Ziu took the mouse and clicked on the video. Xiao Jiao blinked cutely, leaned back, and fell on the bed. After watching the video, Huo Lily said with a smile, "Isn't it interesting? This pair is really good at playing and they match well. It's quite interesting, but..." As he said that, Zhou Ziu glanced at Huo Lily thoughtfully. "Lily, why are you so concerned about Li Jie's affairs? Isn't it because you are interested in others?" "How is that possible?" Huo Lily shook her head. "Funny, how could I like Li Jie? Not to mention that he has a girlfriend. Even if he doesn't have a girlfriend, he wouldn't be able to like me. On the other hand, Ziu, if you are willing, you might be able to snatch Li Jie over. I believe no man can resist your charm." Huo Lily was telling the truth. Although the school had only started for a month, there were more than 5 or 6 boys chasing after Zhou Ziu. There were classmates from her major, seniors, and graduate students. This was clearly expressed. There are countless people who have a crush on her and have a crush on her. However, Zhou Ziu politely declined the pursuit of these boys and did not accept any of them. Zhou Ziu shook his head slightly and said, "You overestimate me. Xiao Jiao is not bad either." Indeed, Huo Lily agreed after thinking about it. "Originally, I thought Xiao Jiao was a very well-behaved girl and very introverted, but after watching the video just now, her smile was so sultry, and my heart was moved just watching it. I can only say that Li Jie has a very discerning eye." After a pause, Huo Lily added, "Actually, I feel sorry for Xiaowai. You didn't realize that Xiaowai has been in a bad mood recently?" "Xiao Hui? You're saying that Xiao Hui is in a bad mood because Li Jie and Xiao Jiao are together, but didn't she say that she and Li Jie are just ordinary classmates?" Zhou Ziu didn't seem to understand. "Do you really believe that the two of them are just ordinary classmates?" Huo Lily sneered. "Actually, Li Jie really came to our school because of Xiaowai. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 63. "Lily, what you said is true," Zhou Ziu said with a smile. Seeing that Zhou Ziu didn't believe it, Huo Lily became a little anxious. "Really? Tsuyu, do you know what score Li Jie scored in this year's college entrance examination? He scored 546 points. I checked online and found that the first line they saved was 553, which means he is almost on the first line. And what is the minimum admission score of our school? In addition, Xiaowai scored 478, but she did not pass the second line of their province, because she was a top 3 student in their school, and she needed 10 points to pass the second line. You think about it, with Li Zhe's score, he can definitely get into a top second class. If it weren't for Xiaowai, why would he have to travel all the way from the northeast to the south to come to our school? Wait a minute, Zhou Ziyu discovered a problem. She interrupted Huo Lily and asked out of curiosity, Xiaowai's grades shouldn't be considered bad, right? Then why did she get the provincial title of 3 excellent students? I heard from Xiaowai that their school is a private high school, and there are very few students with good grades in the liberal arts class. Her grades are already relatively good in her grade, Huo Lily explained. But in Xiaowai's class, Li Zhe's grades should be better, right? Why didn't Li Zhe, this provincial level top student, get it? With 10 points, he can go to the first line, Zhou Ziyu said with great interest. Ask. Huo Lily was stunned for a moment and said, I don't know that. Xiao Qiao's massage techniques were indeed not up to par, and the force on her hands was either light or a bit heavy. Li Zhe couldn't help but hum. Li Zhe had to teach her little by little. Press your hands a little faster. You can also use a little more force on your hands. Right. She would humbly accept Li Jiti's demands. How do you feel now? Xiao Qiao asked while massaging him. Well, not bad. Li Zhe's voice was a little low, and he touched her head to encourage her. After a massage, Li Zhe really enjoyed it. Xiao Qiao was very motivated to learn. Although his massage skills were young, this green experience was the greatest enjoyment. Otherwise, he might as well go to a technician, whose massage skills are professional. Xiao Qiao's massage was halfway done, and Li Zhe's body did not relax at all. Li Zhe reached out and hugged Xiao Qiao into his arms, kissed her on the forehead, and then sighed in his heart. Seeing that Li Zhe's expression was a little depressed, Xiao Qiao looked up at him and said, Are you feeling uncomfortable? It's okay, Li Zhe said with a smile to her. The physical fitness is so good, but it is also a very painful thing. This guy is old Versailles. Li Zhe. Xiao Qiao said softly. What's wrong? She bit her lip, her eyes wandering. How about we try it? That deep massage you mentioned. After saying that, she immediately lowered her head and avoided Li Zhe's eyes. Li Zhe was stunned for a moment. Can he say no? Of course not. If he refuses again, he really is not a man. As a man, who can refuse to give a beautiful woman a massage? Li Zhe looked down at the shy Xiao Qiao in his arms, smiled and said, Okay, let's give it a try. It was really going to be an accident during the massage, and he admitted it. At worst, he would marry Xiao Qiao and be responsible for her. After this mutual massage, both of them were sweating, sticky and greasy, so Li Zhe picked up Xiao Qiao, who was lying on the bed tired and unwilling to move, and went to the bathroom. The bath took a long time, and it wasn't until an hour later that Li Zhe came out of the bathroom with Xiao Qiao in his arms. At this time, it was already dark outside. Li Zhe changed the stained sheets, and the two of them hugged each other and lay on the bed, enjoying the tender atmosphere. Qiao Bao, Li Zhe looked down at Xiao Qiao in his arms. She was drawing circles on his chest with her little hand. Beforehand, he called her Xiao Qiao, but after he succeeded, he immediately changed his name to Qiao Bao. It's true that when I looked at the moon, I used to call her little Tian Tian, but now that the new person is better than the old person, I call her Mrs. Niu. When a man likes a girl, he can treat her like a treasure, but when he no longer likes her, he will abandon her like a pair of worn-out shoes. It can be said that from this moment on, Li Zhe really regarded Xiao Qiao as a treasure. Because she gave her most precious thing. You're so stupid. Li Jie reached out and scratched Xiao Jiao's nose. You're stupid. Xiao Jiao wrinkled her nose and said fiercely to him. Well, a fierce little kitty. Isn't it stupid enough? Li Jie sighed in his heart. Can love be used as a weapon of rebellion and used for fun? Being too easy for others to succeed will only lead to contempt and disrespect from others, and will not be cherished. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 64. Fortunately, he was the one who succeeded. For this, Li Jie was extremely lucky. So on the day of registration, when Li Jie boarded the school bus and saw Xiao Jiao for the first time, he decided to catch her first. In fact, Li Jie is not very willing to interfere with others, and he also dislikes people who interfere with others. Just like many girls in later generations who are very indulgent in love, although Li Jie does not agree with this, he chooses to respect it. Life is your own, and you only need to be responsible for yourself. As long as it does not violate the law or violate morality, no one has the right to interfere. What others indulge in is their own lives. Why do you, an outsider, stand on the so-called moral high ground and point your fingers at others' lives? You have no rights and no qualifications. But if it were Xiao Jiao, Li Jie would feel very distressed. Zhang Yu really didn't lie to me, Xiao Jiao suddenly whispered. Zhang Yu? What did she say? She said it felt good to do it. Li Jie was stunned for a moment, smiled and shook his head, then reached out and tapped Xiao Jiao's head. Little seductive girl. What? I'm shy. When Xiao Jiao heard this, he immediately became anxious. You don't seem to be shy when you say that. Who just bullied me to death and coaxed and lied to me? I'm shy, right? Okay, from now on. Don't touch me, I don't think anyone is in a hurry. Xiao Jiao said and began to push Li Jie. Don't touch me. Seeing this, Li Jie quickly gave up and hugged her tightly. Okay, it's me. I said the wrong thing. Our Jiao Bao is the purest. This finally calmed down the angry kitten. Now is the time when she is proud of her favor. What can Li Jie do? I can only get used to it. Don't talk to Zhang Yu anymore. This bitch is not a good person, Li Jie thought for a while and said to Xiao Jiao. Typical wife marries into the house, matchmaker kicks over the wall. Xiao Jiao glanced at him and said, who are you calling a girl? Zhang Yu Ki is only 18, okay. And how did Zhang Yu offend you? For you to say this about her, people in our dormitory will praise you a lot. Good reviews? He paid for the good reviews. Li Jackson said, if I hadn't spent money to buy Zhang Yu first, you would have been sold by her long ago. No, Xiao Jiao was actually betrayed. Xiao Jiao looks smart, but in fact she doesn't have much scheming. In terms of thinking, she is not even as good as Shen Xinyi. Shen Guiguai is just good looking, and he has just entered college, so his mind is relatively simple, but he is not stupid. Li Jie contacted her and found that this girl was more thoughtful and knew what she wanted. But Xiao Jiao is really a bit stupid. She is a little smart, but it's all a little smart. Just like an immature boy, he is impulsive, casual, and just gets by without knowing what he wants. Among the girls Li Jiren knows, he thinks the most rational one is Lu Kaiu, the kind of girl who is difficult to impress with persistence and emotion. Watching Wang's Haihang show off in front of Lu Kaiu, Li Jie seemed to see himself in the past. How much better could his performance in front of Tan Hui be? Even worse than the other party. Deep feeling? No, just a humble licking dog. But Li Jie will not resent anyone for this. Since it is his own choice, he should not vent his anger on others. Just listen to me and just ignore Zhang Yu. After a pause, Li Jie said, her interpersonal relationships are a bit complicated. Seeing what Li Jie said, Xiao Jiao reluctantly nodded, okay. By the way, where did you learn that new technique just now? It wasn't Zhang Yu who taught it to you, right? If that's true, Li Jie felt that he should give her a good review. No, it's to watch a movie. Xiao Jiao smiled and glanced at Li Jie meaningfully. Weren't you very, do you men feel that special desire to conquer? Ahem, Li Jie couldn't help coughing twice to cover up his embarrassment. The president really understands men's little thoughts, and she is extremely talented in this area. Jiao Bao, what movie are you watching? We can discuss it together when we have time. Watching movies, which movie also teaches massage techniques? Is it a massage technique instruction video? Li Jie was a little curious, after all, he really didn't understand. Xiao Jiao smiled and glared at him. In the next 3 or 4 days, Li Jie and Xiao Jiao stayed at home. During this period, except for a trip to the supermarket and buying some things, they didn't even leave the house. They sat on the sofa together and watched movies, played games, cooked and ate together. Li Jie didn't even know how to code, and just stayed with Xiao Jiao. I watched a lot of horror movies, such as Dead Silence, Ghost Calls, and Scared to Death. Li Jie was dragged by Xiao Jiao to review these movies again. Xiao Jiao is very timid and is afraid of ghosts, but she loves watching horror movies. As soon as the scary scenes appear, or the atmosphere becomes tense, she starts to be afraid. She grabs Li Jie's arm, and then she is frightened as soon as the scary scenes appear. He yelled and hid in Li Jie's arms while grabbing his arm. After watching several movies, Li Jie's arms were scratched by Xiao Jiao. Li Jie made up his mind that he would never take her to the cinema to watch horror movies in the future. It would be too embarrassing. A typical person is very addicted to food, and this is not only reflected in watching horror movies, but also. At first, Li Jie thought that Xiao Jiao was just scared when watching a movie and that he would be fine after watching the movie. As a result, after watching the movie, she became paranoid. She would scream in fear if there was a dark figure. She would even pull Li Jie and refuse to let him stay away for a moment. Even when he went to the bathroom, she asked him to wait outside. What is it like to have a beautiful woman pestering you to death? Li Jie can only say that it is the trouble of happiness. In fact, Li Jie also likes watching horror movies, but he is not afraid at all. Because people know that ghosts are scary, and ghosts know that people's hearts are poisonous. Li Jie played the game with Xiao Jiao. After all, when she got scared, she grabbed his arm and watched horror movies all the time. Li Jie couldn't resist it, and one of his arms was bruised by her. The games played were all the many games that Li Jie played when he was a child, such as Metal Slug, Snowman Brothers, Blooded Fighting, King of Fighters, Street Fighter and so on. Xiao Jiao probably had never played this kind of game when he was a child, so he had a lot of fun playing it, but his skills were too poor. It was fine when playing clearance games. Li Jie had a pig teammate at best, but when it came to playing fighting games, Xiao Jiao started to cheat after he realized that he couldn't beat Li Jie at all. He did not hesitate to lie, sneak attack, and seduce Li Jie. It's really not easy to be the president. Even Sexy Yang betrayed him in order to win. Every time he won a trick, Xiao Jiao would proudly show off to Li Jie. What should Li Jie do? The president has no martial ethics, no, he has no competitive spirit at all. He could only righteously advise her to mousetail juice and seduce her next time. Even if she comes over, he won't be afraid. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 65. Besides watching movies and playing games, what Li Jie and Xiao Jiao do most is exchange massage techniques together. Li Jie found out that Xiao Jiao might really be a bit knowledgeable about the matter, and that he cared more about it than he did. After he got a little better, he pestered him to do something shameful, massage. What happened to Xiao Jiao's health? Just like that, he is a typical human being and very addicted. The night of October 9th. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao were leaning on the bed side by side watching a movie. This time they were not watching a horror movie. What was shown on the laptop screen was a romance and comedy movie called Love Call Transfer. The song Love Transferred is the theme song of this movie. Li Jie previously sang a cover version of Love Transferred at the class's Mid-Autumn Festival party, China Keeps Turning. Li Jie has never seen this movie, but has seen it on a short video. What impressed him most was Su Zheng's line, "You will always wear this purple sweater at home, every week." Hajang Mai Ian, TV series, Hajang Mai Ian. But after Su Lang, played by Su Zheng, divorced his wife and met 11 different types of women, Su Lang discovered that his ex-wife was the most suitable for him. So Su Lang ran to find his ex-wife to get back together. The dinner her ex-wife cooked was still fried noodles, but her sweater was changed to red. There was another man in the room wearing the same red sweater as her. Su Lang became his ex-husband in the eyes of men. It turned out that his ex-wife was already married. It is not only money that defeats love, but also the trivialities of life. No matter how beautiful a woman is, she will get tired of it over time. Xiao Jiao leaned on Li Jie's shoulder, glanced sideways at him from time to time, and unconsciously scratched his chest with a small hand. Li Jie smiled, reached out and grabbed Xiao Jiao's little hand, caressed and played with it. Her hands were beautiful, soft, white, slender, and her nails were oval-shaped. "Jiao Bao, I booked a flight. I'll take you back to Hongcheng tomorrow morning. Aren't you going back with me?" Xiao Jiao turned his head and looked at Li Jie. "I still have things to do, and I have to stay here for 2 or 3 more days," Li Jie said. "How about I accompany you?" Xiao Jiao said with a coquettish smile. "You'd better go back first. I don't have anything else to think about while you're here. Besides, your counselors should be really anxious if this drags on any longer." In fact, on the night of the 7th, Li Jie said that he would book a ticket and send her back first, but Xiao Jiao refused to leave and said she wanted to accompany him to do things together, so the two stayed in the house for 2 more days, doing nothing but love. Nothing gets done at all. "When you arrive in Hongcheng, I will ask Zhao Jie to pick you up." "Okay then," Xiao Jiao nodded reluctantly. "I'm leaving tomorrow." Shall we try 2 more times?" Can Li Jie refuse this request? Li Jie glanced at Xiao Jiao. She was wearing a black suspender nightgown, revealing her round and white shoulders, delicate collarbones and clear lines. The skirt was extremely short, barely able to protect her firm buttocks. Her long, slightly curly hair was casually draped down on her white shoulders, and she had a beautiful and charming little face with watery eyes and a sultry smile. With such beautiful shoulders, it would be a shame not to get injections. Li Jie took out a hair tie from the bedside table, tied up Xiao Jiao's hair, and then asked her to kneel on the bed. He was behind her, holding her slender waist. Who made him like her waist the most? The next morning, Li Jie sent Xiao Jiao to Hongqiao Airport. When passing through the security checkpoint, Xiao Jiao reluctantly held his arm. Li Jie touched her head and said with a smile, "It doesn't matter how long we have been apart. I will go back to school in 2 or 3 days." Only then did Xiao Jiao let go of his arm. After watching Xiao Jiao walk into the security check channel and disappearing around the corner, Li Jie withdrew his gaze, turned and left the airport. After seeing off Xiao Jiao, Li Jie became really busy during the last 2 or 3 days in the Shanghai stock market. During the day, he contacted headhunters to interview people, discussed with people from registration agencies about the registration of game companies, and at night when he returned home, he transformed into a code character. Machine, start rushing the manuscript. What makes Li Jie unhappy is that Xiao Jiao, a little girl, was obviously reluctant to leave him when they parted, but after returning to school, she quickly threw him aside. Except for that night, when Xiao Jiao took the initiative to video chat with him, Li Jie took the initiative to find her on the other 2 days and didn't even take the initiative to make a phone call. Does this make Li Jie lose face? Li Jie also found that his mentality was a bit wrong, and his state was a bit like a young boy who had never been in love. But after thinking about it carefully, he finally understood. To be precise, Xiao Qiao is really his first love. Although it's a bit ridiculous, a man who is already in his 30s, has had 2 or 3 girlfriends, and is very skilled in driving, but he has never had his first love? But it is what it is. Li Jie has had 2 or 3 girlfriends, but they were all introduced through blind dates and friends. They said they were in love, but in fact they were living together. The 2 parties met, had a meal, and chatted. When they felt that the conditions were right, they got together without any feelings of affection at all. As for finding one you like. But Li Jie doesn't have the necessary capital. I have an ordinary undergraduate degree, a third-rate major, no house or car, and no real job, writing online articles. Apart from being of decent height and good looks, I really don't have any qualifications that I can take advantage of. It would be nice if a woman could accept him. As for Tan Hui, she had a secret love at that time, or it was a one-sided love affair. The person who has a slight romantic interest is Li Jie's first girlfriend, named Zhang Yan, who, like Tan Hui, was his classmate in high school. In the 3 years of high school, there were only 2 girls who sat at the same table with Li Jie for a long time, and of these 2 girls, one he liked and the other liked him. Li Jie stopped typing, stood up and pushed open the floor-to-ceiling windows, walked to the balcony, faced the cool evening breeze, and lit a cigarette while looking at the Huangpu River not far away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 66. He himself is a non-smoker and only carries a pack with him for socializing. In the last life, when Li Jie was in the 2nd semester of his sophomore year, his best friend Guo Jian suddenly called him and told him that Zhang Yan was asking for his contact information from classmates everywhere. She seemed to like him, and he even gave her his QQ number. Upon hearing this, Li Jie was stunned. Zhang Yan was Li Jie's deskmate in the general class in his freshman year of high school. He didn't know Tan Hui at that time. He was transferred to the key liberal arts class in his sophomore year of high school, while Tan Hui was still in the science class during his freshman year. Zhang Yan is not pretty, and she is not tall, only about 160 centimeters tall, but her skin is fair, quiet, and she is a good-looking girl. Li Jie and Zhang Yan have been roommates for more than half a year, but in his impression, Zhang Yan hates him a bit. Because Zhang Yan has always been very cold to him, unwilling to pay attention to him, and rarely talks to him. Li Jie was baffled by her attitude, and he even doubted whether he had offended her in some way, so he stopped talking to her actively. But now Guo Jian told him that Zhang Yan liked him. How could this be possible? But this is the fact. Zhang Yan took the initiative to join Li Jie's QQ, and was very active and enthusiastic when chatting, which was completely different from the coldness in high school. At this time, Li Jie was in a period of decadence. Tan Hui found a senior as her boyfriend, and he became a laughing stock. The kind-hearted Wang Zhaiheng often comforted him. I no longer paid attention to my studies. I lost all the effort I had in high school. After more than a year, I failed 2 or 3 subjects. Therefore, Li Jie did not reject Zhang Yan. He thought that since he couldn't find someone he liked, he would just find someone who likes him. Zhang Yan has been secretly in love with him for 3 or 4 years, why can't he give her a chance? So the 2 of them got together. It's just that Li Jie is in Hongcheng and Zhang Yan is in Harbin. They are more than 2,000 kilometers apart, so they are in a long-distance relationship. Not long after they fell in love, Zhang Yan took a 2-day train ride from Harbin to Hongcheng to see Li Jie during the May Day holiday, which moved him particularly. After Li Zhejian thought about it, he decided on her and was going to study hard to get a teacher qualification certificate because Zhang Yan said he hoped they would become teachers together. However, the relationship did not last for less than 3 months. After Zhang Yan returned to Harbin, she soon had less and less contact with Li Jie. She no longer logged in on QQ, and rarely took the initiative to make phone calls. At this time, Li Jie had read a lot of online articles, and his thoughts were much more active. He immediately realized that something was wrong, so he immediately asked for leave, bought a ticket and took the train to Harbin to find Zhang Yan. As a result, as soon as she arrived at Zhang Yan's school, she saw her holding hands with a boy from a distance, walking out of the cafeteria talking and laughing. The strange thing is that when he saw this scene, Li Jie didn't feel uncomfortable or angry, he just felt a little ridiculous. A girl who has been secretly in love with you for 3 or 4 years will fall into the arms of another boy after you have been with her for only 3 months. When Zhang Yan separated from the boy, Li Jie found her but didn't say anything. He just invited her to have a meal and then left Harbin. Then there is no more. Many years later, Li Jie looked back at this short-lived relationship and felt that what Zhang Yan liked might just be the Li Jie she saw in high school, who was hard-working and outstanding. But when she discovered that Li Jie, who went to college, was just an ordinary student, even a little decadent, her good impression was instantly shattered. No matter what, Li Jie was still very grateful to Zhang Yan. At least she told him that there was a girl who had a crush on him. Li Jie took the last puff, put out the cigarette butt, and blew the wind for a while. He felt that his mind was much clearer, so he returned to the bedroom and continued to work on the coding machine. That night, Xiao Jiao still didn't look for Li Jie's video, and Li Jie didn't look for her video again. He kept coding until late at night. Time goes back to October 10th. Xiao Jiao got off the plane and walked out of the emergency passage, and saw Zhao Jie who came to pick him up. Senior. Xiao Jiao, just call me Zhao Jie said with a smile. She was extremely busy these days, renting an office, purchasing office supplies, and being responsible for arranging employees who were reporting from Shanghai. But when she received a call from Li Jie, he asked her to pick up Xiao Jiao at the airport. Zhao Jie immediately put things aside and came to the airport early to wait. She really wanted to have a good relationship with Xiao Jiao. She could see that Li Jie liked this girl very much. Then I'll call you Sister Jie, Xiao Jiao said with a smile. Zhao Jie nodded and said yes. The two of them first went to the baggage check-in port to pick up their luggage. There were 2 large 26-inch suitcases, which was really difficult for Xiao Jiao to handle alone. After leaving the airport, Zhao Jie hailed a taxi and rushed to the teacher's college with Xiao Jiao. When Zhao Jie and Xiao Jiao laboriously dragged 2 large suitcases into the dormitory, their roommates immediately gathered around them enthusiastically. Xiao Jiao, you are back. I miss you so much. Zhang Qiang rushed up and hugged Xiao Jiao warmly. If you don't come back, we will really think that you have eloped with Li Jie. Bai Wei looked at Zhao Jie next to Xiao Jiao. Who is this? Zhao Jie dressed very maturely, wearing a black suit and black-rimmed glasses. He didn't look like a student. Xiao Jiao introduced with a smile, this is Sister Jie. She paused and said, she is a friend of Li Jie. Zhang Qiang asked, where is Li Jie? Why didn't he come back with you? He still has unfinished business and will stay in Shanghai for another 2 days. At this time, Zhao Jie said to Xiao Jiao, if nothing happens, I will go back first. If you have anything in the future, you can call me anytime. Sister Jie, let's have a meal before we leave. No, I have something else to do and I'll leave first. Zhao Jie left, and the atmosphere in the dormitory became more lively. Bai Wei looked at Xiao Jiao and said with a smile, we haven't seen each other for 10 days. Have you noticed that Xiao Jiao has become more beautiful? Really, she's more beautiful than before. I know how to dress up and put on makeup. No wonder they say girls become more beautiful when they fall in love. Several girls talked in a variety of ways. Zhang Yu did not pay attention to the changes in Xiao Jiao's appearance like others, but instead focused on the two large suitcases she brought back. Xiao Jiao, what do you put in these two big boxes? Yeah, what's in it? Li Jie bought them all. They are all clothes and shoes, Xiao Jiao said and opened a box. Then several girls were suddenly shocked. Oh my god! So many clothes, shoes, accessories, and bags. And a laptop. That suitcase isn't full of them, is it? Li Jie bought these for you, Zhang Qiang asked. Yes, they are all. Xiao Jiao also opened another suitcase, and several girls found that it was also full of clothes and shoes. The suitcase was filled to the top with all kinds of clothes and shoes. By the way, the content of chapter 63 is not repeated, and the character pictures are in the group 600369020. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 67. Many of the shoes are stuffed in and are a little out of shape, which makes people feel distressed just looking at them. Did you two go to the Shanghai market for a trip, or did you go shopping for goods? Is there a clearance sale in the Shanghai market on November 1? Zhang Qiang didn't know what to say. Clear out sale, Zhang Yu sneered. Zhang Qiang, you are so funny. She said, taking out a long skirt from the box. This skirt is from only. I don't know the price, but it's at least 500 or 600. After saying that, she picked up another pair of high heels and said, these shoes are from Belle. I've seen the same style on the internet for more than 700. Oh, Xiao Jiao, you are too sloppy. Such good shoes are a little deformed due to the pressure. Zhang Qiang, tell me, which shopping mall has clearance of clothes and shoes like this? I'll rush to buy them. Bai Wei glanced at Xiao Jiao and asked, didn't Li Jie spend a lot of money to buy you so many things? It's quite a lot, Xiao Jiao smiled unnaturally. She didn't dare to say that Li Jie spent more than 100,000 yuan on her, as if he was deliberately showing off. At least 60,000 to 70,000 yuan, Zhang Yu said. She just saw a set of cosmetics from Chanel, which cost at least 5 to 6,000. Zhang Yu was going crazy with jealousy. Li Jie had given her a set of more than 1,000 cosmetics before, and she felt that he was very generous, and she was very happy for several days. Now comparing with Xiao Jiao, she felt that she was treated as a beggar by Li Jie and he threw away 10 yuan. No, we must search for more good things from Li Jie. She put in a lot of effort to help him capture Xiao Jiao. Zhang Yu is rich in experience. One look at Xiao Jiao's brows, peach blossom-like face, and spring-like eyes, and he knew that Li Jie had succeeded. Bai Wei asked Xiao Jiao, Li Jie really spent 60,000 to 70,000 yuan on you? Absolutely, Xiao Jiao said vaguely. After a few seconds of silence, Lu Li sighed and said, it's great to have a rich boyfriend. Yes, several girls agreed. Zhang Yu said with a smile, Xiao Jiao, you two bought such things, did you remember to buy us a gift? Gift? How could Xiao Jiao have money to buy gifts? Although Li Jie bought her many things, he never gave her any money. She took out a pair of earrings and handed them to Zhang Yu. Xiao Yu, these are for you. Then Xiao Jiao took out several small jewelry such as bracelets, pendants, and accessories, and gave them to Zhang Qiang and Bai Wei respectively. These trinkets that Li Jie bought for her were not too expensive, costing more than 100 yuan each. Most of them were made of silver. They were very delicate and beautiful in appearance, which made Zhang Qiang and the other girls like them very much. After all, girls like some exquisite and cute little things. But Zhang Yu looked at the things in her hands, obviously not satisfied. She rolled her eyes, picked up a light blue skirt in the box, and said in a pleading tone, "Xiaojiao, this egg skirt of yours. I've seen the same style online and really like it. Can you lend it to me?" As she said this, she tried the skirt on her body. Zhang Yu is slightly shorter than Xiaojiao, with a plump and mature figure, and she can fit into Xiaojiao's skirt. Zhang Qiang on the side was a little overwhelmed. "Zhang Yu, you have the nerve to open your mouth. These clothes were bought by Li Jie for Xiaojiao, not for you." "It doesn't matter, there are too many clothes for me to wear anyway." Xiaojiao smiled and said something that made Zhang Yu even more jealous. "Xiao, if you like this skirt, go ahead and wear it." "Then Xiaojiao, I won't be polite to you anymore." Zhang Yu glanced at Zhang Qian proudly and put her skirt away happily, making Zhang Qian want to hit her in anger. Xiaojiao picked out a few more items, including t-shirts, shorts, and shoes, and gave one piece to each of Zhang Qian and the others, so there was no preference for one. Her personality is quite generous, and Xiaojiao is not like other girls who pay too much attention to things like clothes and shoes. She wears clothes more for comfort and rarely dresses up deliberately. Of course, Xiaojiao is not stupid and generous. She is not willing to give her anything that is too expensive, such as the big-name bags, high-end skirts and cosmetics that Li Jie bought for her. Zhang Qiang and the others accepted the gift from Xiaojiao after rejecting it for a few times. Only Bai Wei, for some reason, seemed really unwilling to accept it. "Xiaojiao, I really don't want it anymore." After taking a look at the skirt Xiaojiao handed over, Bai Wei refused. The skirt is a white hollow chiffon dress, very beautiful. Although Bai Wei is taller than Xiaojiao, her figure is not much different. She knows without trying it on that the skirt will definitely look good on her. "Wai Wei, sister Wei, just take it." Xiaojiao didn't allow Bai Wei to refuse and just gave her the skirt. This dress was also the most expensive thing Xiaojiao gave away. It was from Chanel. Li Jie spent 2,000 to 3,000 when buying it for her. Who has the best relationship with Xiaojiao in this dormitory is actually not Zhang Qiang, but Bai Wei. Although they have been together for a long time, Xiaojiao can feel that the more mature Bai Wei is obviously taking care of her like a younger sister. Bai Wei had taken care of her before, and Xiaojiao felt that she should repay Bai Wei. Zhang Qiang and the others also advised Bai Wei to take off her skirt. "Okay, I'll accept it, thank you." Xiaojiao Bai Wei reluctantly accepted it. "If you are so polite to me, do you think you don't regard me as a sister? Also, I'll give you this t-shirt." "There are too many t-shirts for me to wear." Xiaojiao picked out another large blue cartoon t-shirt and handed it to Bai Wei. Zhang Yu, who was watching from the sidelines, was extremely jealous. Xiaojiao knew that despite Bai Wei's well-dressed appearance, she only had 2 or 3 sets of clothes when she came back and forth, and some of them had faded and become fluffy after being washed. Bai Wei took the t-shirt and was no longer polite. On the way to the classroom in the afternoon, Bai Wei pulled Xiaojiao behind. Bai Wei glanced at Xiaojiao, smiled and said, "Li Jie is very kind to you." "Yeah," Xiaojiao nodded, with a smile on his face. "Then you?" Bai Wei glanced at Zhang Qiang and others walking in front, lowered her voice and said, "Then did you give it to him?" "Give him something, something." Xiaojiao looked at Bai Wei innocently, as if he didn't understand what she was saying. "You're still pretending to be stupid with me." Bai Wei smiled and reached out to poke her forehead. "You don't regard me as a sister, do you?" She returned this sentence to Xiaojiao. After the two of them finished arguing, Xiaojiao said softly, "We gave it a try." "Well, the president is being humble, it should be the nth time." Bai Wei sighed in her heart. She actually didn't want Xiaojiao and Li Jie to progress too quickly. If a girl is too easily taken over by a man, it is often difficult to be cherished. She can only hope that Li Jie is an exception. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 68. Xiaojiao, you and Li Jie must get along well in the future. When you get married in the future, I will be your bridesmaid, Bai Wei said with a smile. She is more mature than Zhang Qiang and knows that the relationship between two people is not something outsiders can interfere with. She can only bless Xiao Jiao in her heart. Xiao Jiao nodded, and then said, Wai Wei, when you get married, I will also be your bridesmaid. I don't know when I got married. Bai Wei's tone was a little cold. However, she quickly returned to normal and smiled, I don't even have a boyfriend now, so it's too early to get married. Just find a boyfriend quickly. By the way, Wai Wei, what kind of boy do you like? I'll ask Li Jie to introduce it to you, Xiao Jiao asked with a smile. I'm not in a hurry, let's talk later. Bai Wei obviously didn't want to say more about this. She thought for a moment and reminded, Xiao Jiao, you have to watch your Li Jie closely. Why should I keep an eye on Li Jie? How can I lose him as an adult? I can't say for sure. Don't think I'm joking. With Li Jie's conditions being so good, there will definitely be many women who are interested in him in the future. Some women like to steal other people's boyfriends. No matter how much Li Jie likes you, he can't resist seducing someone. More, you really have to be more careful. Okay, I know Wai Wei is the best to me and cares about me the most. Bai Wei's words were sincere, but Xiao Jiao smiled and didn't take her reminder to heart at all. Bai Wei shook her head. She found that Xiao Jiao's personality had changed a lot. He was no longer so shy, became more lively, cheerful, and a bit naughty. Little did she know that the president was revealing his true nature. Girls' dormitories can't hide secrets, but in one afternoon, almost all the girls on the fourth floor knew that Xiao Qiaoxi from dormitory 210 and her boyfriend went to Shanghai for a trip and brought back something worth 100,000 yuan. They were all bought by my boyfriend. Why did it become 100,000 yuan? It was because the words became more and more exaggerated, from the 60 or 70,000 zhang yu said to 100,000. In the evening, dormitory 210 became a visiting venue. From time to time, girls with good intentions came over and asked Xiao Jiao if he could see what she brought back. The people who came were not only students from the fourth floor, but also girls from other buildings. Less, because the news has spread to the entire school. In fact, some people came not just to see things, but to take a look at Xiao Jiao. Xiao Jiao was very angry about this. No matter what the reason for coming, whether it was to see people or things, they were allowed to visit. Faced with their words of praise, envy, or jealousy, she accepted them all. So Xiao Jiao truly became a famous figure in the school. She was also famous in the past, and some people may know that there was a pretty girl named Xiao Jiao in the Department of Tourism Management during her freshman year. Li Jie's confession at the welcome party made her even more popular. Yes, but the impact is ultimately limited. But this time, Xiao Jiao is completely famous, and the whole school knows that she is such a famous person. Once during a big class, all the teachers said, "Are you Xiao Jiao? I've heard about you." When she walks on campus, she has a high rate of turning heads. Xiao Jiao was originally very beautiful, and with her makeup and dress that transcended the trends of the times, her appearance and temperament were far beyond ordinary people. Just like the difference between celebrities and ordinary people. So even though everyone knew that she was a famous beauty, there was still an endless stream of boys looking for excuses to strike up a conversation with her and asking for her phone number. On the school forum, many people even care about her as the school beauty. However, there are also many people who dislike Xiao Jiao and call her Jiao Shiwen, or Xiao Shiwen. At noon on October 13, Huo Lily returned to the dormitory with the meal she had brought home. The school beauty received another gift. School beauty? Lily, are you talking about Xiao Jiao? Hasn't Li Jie not come back from Shanghai yet? Could she still accept gifts from others? Cao Xiao Jian said. Li Jie arranged for someone to send it to the school. It's an electric bicycle. Electric bicycle, Cao Xiaoqian said in surprise. Isn't Li Jie doting on his girlfriend so much that he doesn't even want to let her walk more? Although Hongcheng Normal University is an ordinary college, it is located in the suburbs and the land is not valuable. The campus area is quite large, about 2,000 acres. The dormitory area is too far from the teaching area, so students have to walk for 15 minutes from the dormitory building to the teaching building every day, which is still a brisk walk. In later generations, many campuses have shared bicycles and electric bicycles, and many students themselves will buy a bicycle or electric bicycle. But in this era, even if the distance is not close, the vast majority of students still choose to walk to school, or even ride a bicycle. There are few. As for electric vehicles, they are still called electric bicycles. They are relatively rare and have not yet become popular in China. But this is how people dote on their girlfriends, and they still have the money to dote on them to death. Huo Lily spread her hands and made a helpless expression. Cao Xiaoqian said, Lily, if Zhai hadn't refused to accept Li Jie, wouldn't it be? Zhou Ziyu, who had been listening to the conversation between the two, suddenly rushed to the door and said, Zhai, what kind of food did you get? It turned out that Tan Hui came back from dinner. Tan Hui glanced at Zhou Ziyu calmly, then at Huo Lily and Cao Xiaoqian, but said nothing. She walked to her desk, sat down, and started eating. Huo Lily and Cao Xiaoqian looked at each other and said no more. Monday the 15th. When going to class in the morning, Xiaoqiao pushed the electric car out of the carport. This is a giant electric bicycle, which looks similar to a later women's small electric motorcycle. The red body is very beautiful. After Xiaoqiao got on the electric scooter, he said to Zhang Kaiyang and the others, there is still one more person sitting in the back. Which one of you can come up? Zhang Yu originally wanted to speak, but found that Xiaoqiao had turned his attention to Zhang Kaiyang and Bai Wei, so he closed his mouth again, but he was secretly unhappy. Zhang Kaiyang shook his head and said, I won't sit down. I can take a few more steps and exercise. Bai Wei, you better sit down. So Bai Wei got into the back seat and hugged Xiaoqiao's waist. As soon as Xiaoqiao stepped on the switch, the electric motorcycle sped out in a flash. Bai Wei, who was sitting in the back seat, was startled. Xiaoqiao, slow down. Sorry, I'm not very skilled yet. The only electric scooter in the school, with two school bell level beauties sitting on it, it is extremely popular when running around the campus, and everyone looks at it. It wasn't until the 16th that Li Jie flew back to Hongcheng from Shanghai. He was in urgent need of an experienced game designer and producer to help him develop the Duntuntang project. However, the head-hunting company has not found a more suitable candidate for a long time, so Li Jie had to stay in the Shanghai stock market for another 2 or 3 days. Thank you to the previous book friends for their rewards. In addition, I hope everyone will try their best to read it. If everyone keeps reading, the book will die. There is also a way to join the group. All the character information is in the group 600369020. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 69. After returning to Hongcheng, Li Jie did not go back to school, but went to the company first. Zhao Jie rented a 112 square meter office on the 10th floor of an office building in the high-tech zone, Hongcheng High-Tech Industrial Development Zone, as the office space of Qwen Technology. The 112 square meter office is divided into 5 areas, a semi-open office area, a president's office, a reception area, a tea lounge area and a small conference room. Zhao Jie is quite capable. After more than a week, he arranged the office in order. When Li Jie came to the company, the first thing he did was to summon everyone to the small conference room and hold a meeting. Accompanying Li Jie to Hongcheng this time were two senior programmers he recruited through headhunting, and a 30-year-old game designer named Yu Zhongfeng. Li Jie had previously asked headhunters to contact 2 or 3 experienced game designers. However, when he heard that it was a newly established small company or that they were going to work in Hongcheng, they all expressed their unwillingness to change jobs, even if they were paid well. Yu Zhongfeng voluntarily resigned from the company because he had conflicts with the new leader and was excluded. Although the other party has never been responsible for a game project independently, he has also worked for a large game company for 5 or 6 years. He has participated in the design and development of many game projects and has extremely rich experience. Yu Zhongfeng and 2 senior programmers, as well as the 9 people recruited previously, plus Zhao Jie, a total of 13 people, are all the current employees of Qwen Technology. Li Jie asked Zhao Jie to take the minutes of the meeting. Before the formal meeting, he said a few words, mainly welcoming everyone to join the company and the company's recent development goals, and then reiterated the company's benefits. After he finished speaking, he received a round of applause. Li Jie could see that although these people respected him on the surface, many of them actually had doubts. After all, he was too young and it was difficult to convince others. However, the problem is not big. As long as he can pay wages and ensure welfare benefits, his status as the boss is unshakable, and his prestige will naturally be achieved when the game is successfully developed. At the beginning of the meeting, Li Jie didn't talk nonsense and went straight to the topic. The company's main job right now is to produce the side-scrolling rail shooting game that I named Dandan Tang. After a pause, Li Jie looked at Yu Zhongfeng and said, "Gong Yu, have you read the game planning plan I gave you, right? As the person in charge of the project, you should first express your opinion." Yu Zhongfeng, about 30 years old, has dark skin and is relatively thin. He is about 176 centimeters tall. He wears a pair of black-rimmed glasses and has a rather rigid eyebrow. Yu Zhongfeng chose to come to Qwen Technology, a small company, mainly because his previous gaming company was constrained and squeezed out by the new leadership of the project team, so he hoped to have a platform for independent performance, so for the new company's first game the project is considered extremely important. No matter what the response is after the game is released, having led a team to produce a released game will add a lot to his resume. Even if this small company goes bankrupt, he will be more confident in finding a job in the future. Yu Zhongfeng pushed up his glasses and said, "The Dantan Tang game conceived by Mr. Li is still innovative. There is currently no similar type of game in the domestic market, so it still has great market prospects. However, this game it is still difficult to develop it." After listening to what the other party said, Li Jie nodded and said, "Yu Gong, how long do you estimate it will take to produce Duntan Hall?" "With our company's current manpower, it will take a year no matter what," Yu Zhongfeng said. "1 year," Li Jie shook his head, "1 year is too long. No, Yu Gong, you can recruit a few more developers in Hongcheng, and then I will find more students from universities to come part-time and be responsible for some simple tasks. I hope Dandan Hall can be released in." After a pause, Li Jie calculated the time in his mind and said, "The production will be completed before May Day next year and then put on the market." "Mr. Li, it will take 6 months to complete the production. Our manpower must be at least doubled." Yu Zhongfeng thought for a while and said, "It's okay. If you're short of manpower, just hire people. You don't have to worry about funding. Besides, before the Chinese New Year this year, I will inject another 10 million into the company. Qwen Technology's registered capital is only 1 million, so it can be said that its scale and strength are extremely small. But if Li Jie wants to invest another 10 million, it will be considered relatively powerful among small game companies." When Yu Zhongfeng heard this, he immediately became energetic and said, "Mr. Li, As long as there are enough manpower, I guarantee that Dunton Hall can be produced before May Day next year, or even completed in advance. For a small and medium-sized game company, the most important thing is funds. As long as there is money, there will be no shortage of manpower. The faster, the better, but the quality of the game must also be guaranteed, Lee Jae reminded. In addition, you can refer to a Korean game called Tank Baby. The model of this game is somewhat similar to our idea. When Lee Jae was in the Shanghai stock market, he specifically checked to see if any domestic game companies were developing and producing Dandan Tang. What reassured him was that there were not yet. However, he accidentally discovered a game that was very similar to the Duntan Tang mode, called Tank Baby, which was produced by a Korean game company. Lee Jae guessed that the later Duntan Tang must have been produced by a domestic game company to imitate Tank Baby. Tank Baby. Yu Zhongfeng checked the information about this game on his computer and suddenly understood. He was a little curious before about how Lee Jae, a game layman, came up with such a good game idea. It turned out that he borrowed it from other games. However, this kind of thing is too common. Everyone learns from each other, no one can criticize anyone else. Yu Zhongfeng secretly praised Li Jie for his flexibility. At the same time, with the template for reference, he became more confident in the production of Duntan Hall. Li Jie added, "The main audience for our Dandan Tang web game is young female players, and as long as a game has a large number of young female players, there will definitely be no shortage of male players, so in order to cater to female players, the characters in our game must be designed according to the Q version of the cartoon image, and the graphics must be as beautiful as possible, so our art team has a very heavy task." The meeting lasted for more than an hour. Li Jie and the game production team headed by Yu Zhongfeng initially planned out the production plan for Dandan Tang, and then announced the end of the company's first meeting. After the meeting, Li Jie asked other employees to leave first, leaving Zhao Jie and Yu Zhongfeng behind. "Yu Gong, Assistant Zhao, the two of you will be responsible for replenishing manpower in the company," Li Jie ordered the two of them. Yu Zhongfeng nodded, saying it was no problem, and then went out to work. "Encourage everyone to add a book friend skirt, everyone understands it, the character information is in the skirt 600369020. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 70. Then Li Jie said to Zhao Jie, "Hire another front desk person to be responsible for the company's trivial matters." Zhao Jie asked what requirements he had for candidates. Li Jie thought for a moment and said, "As long as you are pretty, you don't need to be too powerful." At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Jie announced that he would get off work early today, and then took all the company's employees to a star-rated hotel and treated everyone to a feast. Li Jie didn't stay at the banquet for long. He drank a drink with Yu Zhongfeng, Zhao Jie, and other key employees, and then toasted to everyone before leaving. After all, he was the boss, so everyone couldn't let go of him if he stayed at the scene. After leaving the hotel, Li Jie took a taxi back to school. As soon as he entered the dormitory, He's Higang and Yang Hao both shouted. "Damn, Jizi, you're back. Brother Jie, the head teacher and counselor have come to see you." Li Jie nodded to Yang Hao and said he understood. The head teacher Yu Yong and the counselor Zhang Han both called Li Jie and had great opinions on him. "The vacation is over, but I don't return to school in time and stay out of town for a long time." Li Jie just told the two of them that he would give them an explanation when he came back. He's Higang asked, "Jizi, you've been gone for half a month, and Xiao Qiao has been back for 5 or 6 days. Why did you come back?" "I have something to do over there in Shanghai, so I was delayed." Li Jie opened his luggage and took out a few t-shirts without saying much. "The gifts I brought for you are 1 t-shirt each. Yang Hao, I bought you the largest size." Yang Hao picked up the t-shirt and took a look and found that it belonged to Adi. He immediately smiled and said, "Thank you, Brother Jie." In fact, Li Jie bought these t-shirts casually in a trendy brand store. They cost only 100 or 10 yuan each. He didn't know whether they were genuine or not. Wang Zhaiheng took the t-shirt, glanced at it, put it aside, and then took out a gift box and handed it to Li Jie. "Jizi, Lu, and I came back from Huangshan and brought you a gift." Li Jie took it and opened it and found it was a small jar of Huangshan Mo Feng tea. Yang Hao looked over and took a look and said in surprise, "Brother Wang, why do I feel that this jar you gave to Brother Jie is worth more than the jar I have? The cans are expensive." Wang Zhaiheng glanced at him and ignored him. Li Jie put away the tea and said thank you. After thinking about it, he asked one more question, "Lao Wang, how are you and Lu?" "Lu and I are very good," Wang Zhaiheng said with a smile, but his expression was a bit unnatural. He originally planned to take advantage of the opportunity of traveling to Huangshan to capture Lu directly. However, after the 7-day journey, although Wang Zhaiheng kissed, touched, and rubbed, Lu always held on to the last line of defense, hanging to prevent him from succeeding. Lu also told Wang Zhaiheng that she had no experience yet and hoped he would give her more time. Wang Zhaiheng was somewhat skeptical about this. Lu's performance didn't look like she was inexperienced. However, although Lu refused to let Wang Zhaiheng touch him, she also used other methods to help him relax, which could be regarded as calming his dissatisfaction. Wang Zhaiheng enjoyed Lu's kiss even more. However, the cost of this trip was not small. Excluding the time spent on the road and back, Wang Zhaiheng spent more than 5,000 yuan in Huangshan for 5 days, which averaged over 1,000 yuan a day. Wang Zhaiheng doesn't care if he spends more money. His family is relatively wealthy and only gives him more than 2,000 yuan a month for living expenses. But what made Wang Zhaiheng unhappy was that after returning from Huangshan, Lu started to hang out with him again. It was okay to go on a date to eat, or to kiss and hold hands. However, as soon as he mentioned opening a room, Lu kept pushing back. "Jizi, since you are back, I want to take some time to have a social gathering in our dormitory," Wang Zhaiheng suddenly suggested. "Friendship. For the friendship, Jizi, ask Xiao Qiao to call out the girls from their dormitory, and I asked Lu to call out the girls from their dormitory. The 3 dormitory people will have a party together to connect with each other, and also help Brother Gang get rid of being single as soon as possible. We all have girlfriends, so we can't let Brother Gang stay single." Li Jie glanced at his Gang, and then said to Wang Zhaiheng, "Okay, no problem." His Gang chuckled and said, "Jizi, Lao Wang, thank you both for being so loyal and not forgetting our brothers." With that said, he took out his cigarette and handed one to Li Jie and Wang Zhaiheng respectively. Yang Hao took a cigarette from his Gang and lit it, and said, "There is also me. I'm still single. Brother Jie and Brother Wang, don't forget to help me. This guy never forgets to take advantage." "Li Jie, you're back from Shanghai." At this time, Lin Jing came back, saw Li Jie, and said hello. Wang Zhaiheng took a puff of his cigarette and said to Lin Jing, "Lin Zi, you came back just in time. We are discussing a friendship, helping Brother Gang get out of singles, Lu's dormitory, Xiao Qiao's dormitory, and our dormitory. There are 3 dormitory friendships. How about you also ask Chen Wenjing to call the girls in their dormitory? The more people there, the more lively it will be." "Okay, wait until I talk to Xiao Jing, it should be fine." Lin Dingding nodded and agreed. After speaking, Lin Jing looked at Li Jie. "But Xiao Jing and Tan Hui are in the same dormitory, is that okay?" "Tan Hui," Yang Hao asked gossipingly, "Brother Jie, is she really your high school ex-girlfriend?" His Gang and Wang Zhaiheng also set their sights on Li Jie, and they were obviously more interested in this issue. "Tan Hui is my ex-girlfriend." Li Jie was stunned for a moment and said, "Who the hell started this rumor? It would be fine if he really took advantage of Tan Hui." "He didn't take any advantage at all, and even betrayed his ex-boyfriend's identity. Is he wronged? As for the forced kiss on Tan Hui on the train, Li Jie selectively forgot about it. Yang Hao said, "Many people in the school are spreading the rumor, isn't it? It turns out that after Xiao Qiao became famous, someone exposed the fact that Li Jie came to Hongchen Normal University because of Tan Hui. The triangle scandal was too topical, not to mention that Li Jie and Xiao Qiao were still well-known figures in the school. So the news spread all of a sudden. Nonsense, of course not. Tan Hui and I are just ordinary high school classmates." Li Jie shook his head and said. "It's okay if outsiders spread rumors. Just don't follow suit." Lin Jing asked, "Is it okay if Tan Hui comes over to join us?" "It's okay." Li Jie didn't think Tan Hui would go, and even if she did go, it wouldn't matter. The person who had a crush on Tan Hui was the Li Jie from more than 10 years ago, but in Li Jie's heart she was really just an ordinary high school classmate. In many rebirth novels, the protagonist is reborn to the student days many years ago, but still remains obsessed with his first love. In this regard, Li Jie can only say that these protagonists are really long-term in love. It doesn't take him many years, 1 or 2 years is enough for him to forget a relationship. In his last life, during the second semester of his sophomore year, Li Jie saw Tan Hui and her boyfriend walking hand in hand on campus, and there was no disturbance in his heart. His feelings for Tan Hui had been exhausted. In this world, there really is no one we can't live without. Encourage everyone to add a book friend skirt, everyone understands it. The character information is in the skirt 600369020.